With us. Now, tomorrow, the Equal Opportunities Commission will be unveiling their 5th annual report, and of course, for now, let's speak to the chairperson of this commission, Sylvia Muwebwa Ntambi. Good evening.
Good evening.
Your commission's mandate from the Equal Opportunities Commission Act, very briefly, is to give effect to the state's constitutional mandate to eliminate discrimination and inequalities against any individual or group of persons, and that is against, whether it be race, age, sex, whatever the case might be. Yeah. Would you say you are fulfilling your mandate as a commission? When you look around this country, there is clearly so many imbalances. Would you say you're fulfilling your mandate?
Yeah, we'll say we are, but not 100%.
What are you fulfilling? What are you not fulfilling?
Of course, we've started with redressing imbalances in as far as planning and budgeting is concerned, because as the Equal Opportunities Commission, we have the mandate to look at all ministries, departments and agencies into their plans and their budgets to see that everyone is included in those budgets. If you plan for everyone and budget for everyone, then you redress some of these imbalances. So we are already doing that, and this is almost our 4th year doing it, and there is great change when we look at the plans of government now and the different budgets that are coming up. The vulnerable people are being budgeted for and planned for, and for sure, if we go on like this, we'll see some change.
Tomorrow you're going to release another report. You've released 4 so far. Tomorrow is going to be the 5th. And I'll tell you, government departments, agencies, usually there are flowery reports that are released. And then they're good to read, good to ingest. But then I keep asking, then what? A report is released and very often, little is done about these reports. You're telling us about, some of the things that have been done. I don't know whether you can tether that directly to your report, but also some tangibility. Many times you don't see it. Good reports and some noise is made, and you people threaten government. At the times I look at you and I keep thinking, will they bite?
There's nothing like threatening government. You can't threaten government.
Maybe you should threaten them when they go wrong, because it's within your mandate, is it not?
No,
threaten that, look, if you don't do this, then I'll take action, because the law mandates you, does it not?
It mandates us, but it's also about reminding ourselves, because government is us. So it's about reminding us, what should we do to make our lives better?
So what happens when that does not happen? Will you keep writing reports, flower reports, and you're calling on people and reminding them, do your job, and if it's not happening, then what?
No. The difference that we have of recent, every time we issue a report, we usually put recommendations. And what the Equal Opportunities Commission does is to follow up those recommendations with the specific ministries, departments and agencies. And it is us to remind them that, please, these were our recommendations. Can you do something about it? If they don't, then we present the same to Parliament. Or we go into our mandate and we sanction them into our tribunal to say what is happening.
How many have you sanctioned so far, and what has happened as a result of that sanctioning?
I'll tell you, in the last financial year, we summoned about 5 sectors that we looked at, and they had not actually done what they're supposed to do in as far as their budgeting and planning. And we saw some great change when they changed their plans for this ensuing year, and we can see that they do have commitments to correct some of the issues that they had not put in their budgets. For example, many ministries, departments and agencies have not been planning for persons with disability. But when we look at the plans for the last year, we can see there is some change. Of recent, we are also going to assess the 1920 budgets, and we expect some great change. We also realize that older persons and children, those 3 categories, ministries, departments and agencies do not plan and budget for those 3 categories of people. And yet the vulnerable people are almost 80% of our population. So when we sanction, we try to see what are your commitments and what have you done. If you haven't, then we stretch the long arm of the law, because our act is very clear on what our mandate is. But also the Public Finance Management Act is very clear on what the Equal Opportunities Commission can do in as far as the accounting officers are concerned, because they are the ones in charge of those budgets and plans. But also Parliament, under that same Public Finance Management Act, can move their own powers and sanction those permanent secretaries to see that they abide.
Now that we have you, I'll stick to you as opposed to Parliament, because while you will say that some work has been done, and when you look around, there's bits and pieces, which is a good thing, but then there's many people you will speak to that will tell you there's lots of discrimination, there's lots of imbalances, and they keep wondering, what are you doing? I'll tell you, as an individual, I like that if somebody is meant to do their job and they don't do it, punitive action should be taken. And then so I'd like to hear some specificity that some punitive action was taken here and there, because many folks watching us are saying, wait a minute, Sylvia, what you are saying here, I don't see it, because of the spaces where they are vulnerable in many respects. Women, children, persons with disabilities, etc., etc. The list is very long, and they still feel very vulnerable in a country that belongs to them too. And you're saying there's progress. They don't see it, unfortunately.
You see, they always say, I don't know where that saying came from, but if you want to hide information, you put it in a book for an African. But I'll urge you, Mr. Senyonyi, go to our website and have a look at how many cases.
But see, some of these things people need to see, such that when these people who are vulnerable, who are marginalized, they begin to see that actually they are encompassed. When they go to certain places, they're not discriminated against. So these things should not remain in books and reports, the amazing reports like the one you're going to release tomorrow. That's amazing, and we should read these things, But you see, at the end of the day, if they do not see it, if there's no tangibility, then the book really does not make the cut. You
see, for those who have been discriminated or marginalized and they have come to the Equal Opportunities Commission, they'll give that kind of talk about the Equal Opportunities Commission, what it has done in as far as their plight is concerned. Because with our tribunal, we've reached out to those different people. I'll tell you, when you look at the roads that are being made today, it's all about the different recommendations we've given.
So our roads are being made because of reports you have made?
I cannot say because it's all about stakeholders, and we are one of the stakeholders. But I'll say that before you could not see walkways. Today you see some walkways. It's all about being also patient about some of these things, because the Equal Opportunities Commission is a young institution. It's just about 5-7 years. But I know and I pledge that give it time, you'll see some change.
Well, we have had people who have told us, give us time, we shall act, we shall hold you to that one.
Oh yeah.
I have 30 seconds to end. Tomorrow you're releasing a report. What are the sticky issues in that report? Yeah,
the sticky issues are all about accessibility and inclusion. And we have chosen about 5 sectors that we have looked at. The transport works road sector, we've looked at health, we've looked at education, we've also looked at the gender and equity budgeting.
And what's the picture there, good or bad?
It's not yet well balanced. Something good is being done, but a lot more should be done.
Well, we are counting on you. You can be sure we shall hold you accountable, because you have every reason to do a good job.
Oh, yes.
That is
and
what you're mandated to do.
I pledge, we will do it.
Sylvia Ntambi, thank you for talking to us.
You're welcome.
All right, let's now move on and look at some other stories. South Sudan. South Sudan MPs in the East African Legislative Assembly want their fellow countrymen who fled the country because of civil war in their homeland to prepare to return to the country now that there is relative peace. The MPs are in Uganda with EALA Committee on Regional Affairs and Conflict Resolution to assess the situation of refugees in the country.
The recent signing of a peace agreement in South Sudan between President Salva Kiir and his former Vice President